Hi, I'm Geraldine Miskin, a certified breastfeeding counsellor, founder of Breastfeeding Experience and the Miskin method. I want to share with you 3 top tips that I feel will enhance your breastfeeding. As we're all different and unique, it's really important that your breastfeeding positioning and attachment technique really suits not only your body shape and size, but also your baby. So for instance, if your breasts are pointing forward or your nipples are pointing forward, your baby's going to come onto the breast directly onto the breast. But if your nipples are pointing downwards slightly, what we're going to find is that baby's going to come up onto the breast. So just to show you what that looks like, I've got a breast and a baby. So what we're going to do is, if I turn sideways slightly, if your nipples were pointing forward, can you see that your baby would be coming directly onto the breast like that? However, if your nipples were pointing downwards slightly, your baby would have to come onto the breast slightly more like that. So this will help you to determine what type of position would suit you better. For instance, if your nipples are pointing downwards slightly, you'd probably find it a little bit trickier to use the cross cradle hold, especially in the early days. So maybe in the early days, consider using the underarm position. And just to refresh your memory, the underarm position, you would have the baby slightly back and then coming onto the breast that way like that. If your breasts were smaller and your nipples were pointing forward, you'd simply be able to use the cross cradle hold and latch your baby on that way. The second tip I'd like to share with you is to bring your baby onto the breast really quickly. When you bring the baby onto the breast really quickly, the nipple flicks to the back of his mouth, and so you're not going to have a lot of tearing and pain at the start of the feed. So let me just show you how to firstly position your baby. Get his bottom right up into the crook of your arm like that. We want nothing behind baby's head. So the heel of your hand on his upper back and shoulder area. And rather than holding your baby like that, which he's not going to really appreciate, open your fingers so that he can lie in your hand like that. So it's almost as though he's lying on a pillow. Okay, line your baby up nose to nipple according to where your nipple is. So remember, if your nipple's pointing forward, your baby's going to be coming directly onto the breast. If your nipple is pointing down, your baby's going to be coming onto the breast. You're going to line your baby up nose to nipple in relation to where your nipple is. And when he does a big wide mouth, you really want to bring him onto the breast very quickly. So it's very much just a pop. So I'll do that again because it was very quick. So you're just going to go pop onto the breast. And don't worry about the speed at which you're bringing him onto the breast. You're not hurting him because you're applying pressure to his upper back area. So by bringing his body into the breast, you can bring him on really, really quickly, and that will help place your nipple where it needs to be and out of harm's way. The third tip I'd like to share with you is to ensure that your baby's cheeks touch the breast evenly throughout the feed. And the reason I want you to do this is that not only will it help you to have effective feeds, but it will also ensure that you don't develop mastitis unnecessarily. So just to show you what I mean, remember, once you have decided how your baby needs to come onto the breast, so regardless of whether your nipples are pointing forward or downwards, once you've latched your baby onto the breast, you want to ensure that both cheeks are touching the breast evenly. That way baby can drain the upper and lower half of the breast. If the top cheek is pulling away from the breast, can you see that he's not going to be draining the upper half of the breast over there? So you'd be prone to developing mastitis up here. By simply positioning your baby so that both cheeks are touching, you'll be able to prevent developing mastitis, and also your feeds will be more effective because baby's able to drain the entire breast, not just half.